What else do angels do for humans? Angels will accompany Christ at the second coming. For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, Matthew 16, verse 27. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, and he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds of heaven. Matthew 24, 30 through 31. The Lord Jesus is revealed from heaven in blazing fire with his powerful angels. So when Christ returns, angels will accompany him and they will assist him in gathering believers when he comes. Now, a great theological question has been asked: how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? And this theological question is not usually taken very seriously, and what it really means is that theology can get bogged down in trivialities that are not all that important to daily life. Though as it turns out that people like Aquinas tried to answer such questions. It depends, of course, on whether angels are material or immaterial. If angels are material, then they occupy space, and so only a finite number could dance on the head of a pin. But if angels are immaterial, then presumably an infinite number could dance on the head of a pin. Aquinas said that really only one angel can be in one place at the same time because the presence of its, quote, power touches the place immediately, unquote, thereby making it impossible for another angel to be present. Now, we should say something about the expression the angel of Yahweh or the angel of the Lord. A term that appears in Genesis and Exodus and Judges, among other places in the Old Testament. Genesis 22, 15 and 16, the angel of the Lord called, and he said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord. Notice here that the angel of the Lord refers to himself as the Lord. And then Genesis 31:11, the angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob, I answered, here I am. And he said, I am the God of Bethel. Exodus 3, 2 through 6, there the angel of the Lord appeared to him in the flames of fire, and God called to him from within the bush, I am the God of your father. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. And then Judges 2:1, the angel of the Lord went up and said, I brought you out of Egypt and led you into the land that I swore to give to your forefathers. Now, the angel of the Lord is a kind of theophany or a Christophany, a manifestation of God or Christ. And in various passages where the angel of the Lord is referred to, he is either identified as God, and you can see the verses here in Genesis 16 and Genesis 18 and Genesis 22 and Exodus 3 that we read a moment ago, and Judges chapter 2 and Judges 6. In those passages, the angel of the Lord seems to be identified as God. In some places, he calls himself God, as we saw in Exodus 3:6 that we read a moment ago. And he receives worship as God in, for example, Joshua 5:14, where it says, and he said, no, but I am the commander of the army of the Lord, and I have come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshiped and said to him, what does my Lord say to his servant? And here the angel of the Lord is called the commander of the army of the Lord, and that would be God, or in this case perhaps Christ. And as God, Joshua bows down and worships him. So the angel of the Lord is not simply an angel. The angel of the Lord is a manifestation of God. Well, let me move on to demons. J.I. Packer, writing about Christ and demons, says the level and intensity of demonic manifestations in people during Christ's ministry was unique, having no parallel in Old Testament times or since. It was doubtless part of Satan's desperate battle for his kingdom against Christ's attack on it, referring to Matthew 12:29. So it's not surprising that we have less demonic activity than we see in the Gospels, since that was, you might say, a special case time period. As far as the teaching about demons, you have two Greek words, daimon and daimonion. And these creatures are spiritual beings, corrupt and hostile, both to God and man, whom Jesus exorcised from their victims in large numbers during his earthly ministry. And they're called not only demons, but sometimes they're called spirits or evil spirits in passages such as Luke 7 and Luke 8 and Luke 11 and Acts 19. They're sometimes called unclean or impure spirits, as you'll see in Matthew 10 and Matthew 12 and Acts 5 and Revelation 16. Spirits as such indicate their basic metaphysical nature as a part of the invisible universe. And when the adjectives evil and unclean are applied to them, it indicates their basic moral nature, their depraved, corrupt, and hostile moral nature. The prince of demons is called Beelzebul, whom Jesus identifies as Satan in Mark 3, verses 22 through 23. Demons are called the devil's angels in Matthew 25 and verse 41, and also Revelation 12 and verse 9. Paul labels demons, quote, authorities, or in other translations, principalities and powers. And there is a hierarchy of supernatural agencies. See, they have authorities and powers among them. Well, what does the Bible teach about demons? Well, it says that evil angels or demons rebelled against God. 2 Peter 2 and verse 4, for if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment. It goes on to talk about that, 2 Peter 2:4. And then Jude 1:6, and angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day, Jude 1 and verse 6. Secondly, demons do harm to human beings. Various passages describe how they can possess humans, can torment humans, cause pain to humans. Matthew 8, Matthew 15, Matthew 17, and Mark 9. Third, demons inspire false prophets, pagan religion, war, and lead people away from God. And various passages describe this, including 1 Kings 21 and 1 Corinthians 10 and Revelation 16 and 1 Timothy 4 and 1 John chapter 4. Fourth, hell was prepared for the punishment of demons or these evil angels. Christ, in warning about the judgment of hell, says he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Hell was prepared for the devil and his angels. Well, that raises an interesting and important question. Can Christians or anyone else be demon-possessed today? Primitive societies certainly see evidence of demon possession, and some continue to use prayer to cast out demons. On the other hand, the work of Christ helps protect us from demons, as Colossians 2:15 says, and having disarmed the powers and authorities, Christ made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. 1 John 4:4 says, greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. And those passages suggest to at least some theologians that Christians, at least, cannot be demon-possessed today. But that is not to deny, even if that is true, that demons can be demon influence. We're told in various places that we Christians must guard against the devil and his wiles. The devil is our adversary, seeking whom he may devour, 1 Peter 5 and verse 8. And so we have to be alert. James 4:7 warns us to resist the devil. Paul in Ephesians 4:27 tells us, do not give the devil an opportunity. In our struggle with spiritual forces, we must be clothed with the full armor of God so that the principalities and powers cannot prevail against us. Ephesians 6 verses 10 through 17. And those who are not on guard against deceitful spirits may well fall away. 1 Timothy 4:1, 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 3. In the next video, we will continue with the discussion of Satan.